Welcome to Rosenbauer Aerials. My name is Rob Krakemeyer. I'm CEO here at Rosenbauer Aerials. We started this business back in 1988. Me and my wife Pam. We started back then with about 3 employees. Today we've got over 80 employees. Back then when we started in a small building about 6,000 square feet. Today we've got over 100,000 square feet under roof. That's been a constant growth. We've been very fortunate. Fremont's been a great place to start a manufacturing business. They have a lot of the needs that we require. We have a good workforce here. Very talented engineers, very talented craftsmen. We're very fortunate to have the welders we have here. If you get the chance to look at the welds they lay down, they do a great job. Most of the product that goes on the truck we can build ahead of time. We have about 7 different departments. And so as all the product funnels together, we're producing a truck about every 4 days.
My name's Dawn Osborne. I'm Vice President of Operations here at Rosenbauer Aerials. A typical day for me can be really crazy, just depending on what happens day to day, what's going on in the office. If we have customers coming in, I spend most of my time with customers, walking them through the shop, working on the sale of their truck. I take phone calls from our dealer network to answer questions, to help them be able to sell our aerials. Work side by side with our production manager and our quality control manager, engineering manager, or purchasing manager. Really just anything, any day that needs to be talked about or worked through. I'm here to assist them and just help them keep the place moving. So anytime a customer's coming into aerials, we just want them to know how they want their truck built. We typically go out of our way to try to make the truck exactly the way that they need to. We will sit and talk to our engineers. We'll bring them into meetings. We'll try to design on the fly to make sure that the truck's going to meet all of their needs.
So today we are going to take a tour of the shop and show you how we build these ladders. We're going to start off in the engineering department. We currently have 5 engineers on staff producing new products, or they are designing the prints for each of the customer trucks.
I'm Ryan Moore. I'm the engineering manager here at Rosenbauer Aerials, and day to day I come in and help with design work for each individual truck that's being made out in the field. What we use here is FEA, which is finite element analysis, and that's a method of calculating the stresses on every single truck that comes in. And we test to make sure that the truck won't tip over in any situation, and keeping the structural integrity safe for all of our firefighters out there using the trucks.
My name's Drew Fairhead, and I'm an electrical engineer here at Rosenbauer Aerials. Primarily do a lot of programming and electrical schematics. We have our aerial smart screens, and those get configured on a truck-by-truck basis exactly how the customer specifies. Not only am I involved on the front end, but I also am involved on the back end with support, troubleshooting with trucks out on the field. We are capable of more customization and more features because we control those programs of all our different modules.
As we head out to the floor, this is where all of the parts start off being made. We make as many parts in-house as possible because we have the control over it, because we design them through our engineering department. This makes it easy for us later down the road to be able to pull up drawings and prints, and then to be able to replace or recreate the parts later in the field to make repairs.
My name is Mike Zenik. I'm the production manager at Rosenbauer. I'll start off in the morning, make rounds, make myself available to everybody in the facility. Let me know what their needs might be for the day, what their challenges might be. Right. One of the advantages of manufacturing your own product is you have control over the quality. You have more control over time frames. Yeah, it's a lot more than just putting a couple ladders together, obviously. There's turntables and electronics.
As we continue to move forward, this is our plasma machine. Our plasma machine can cut steel up to 2.5 inches thick. Parts that come off the plasma machine then are taken to all the different departments that are around the shop. If we keep moving forward, you're going to see that we have an area right here. We actually do build the HREDs for the airport crash trucks from our facility, and that's done in this department right here. Moving forward, we're going to start into the construction of the actual ladder sections. We take the ladder sections from the saw, the parts that are in queue, and then we start welding off on them. We put them up onto spinners, and then we have about 4 guys that what they do all day long is they just weld off each section of each size aerial for each customer truck.
My name's Dan Rice. I work in ladder construction. From day to day, I take ladders and look at the shop order, see what the customer wants, and apply that to what we build the ladder to. Building them from scratch, we get material from the saw that's sent to our jig. They put on the handrails, the down rails, or the face rails, and then the rungs and the K-braces, and they tack them together and send them over to us. And then we weld them off completely, and then start with the parts that need to be added for their function. I usually work on the base section of the ladder, and depending on the time it takes to complete one of those ladders, I'm usually working on it from anywhere from 3 to 5 days. We do have a base model that we go off of, but then of course if there's add-ons or something specially requested by the customer, then we just deal with that in turn and then apply it to what we need.
In the ladder finishing department, we actually have a 0 defects policy, meaning that UL has to go through and sign off on 0 defects before the ladders are able to move into the next area. UL comes over, and this is where the first time that the actual ladder sections get tested through UL. Once UL has signed off, then at that point the ladder sections either get loaded up onto a truck and head over to Belmont to get galvanized, or they move into our paint process. If it's a painted ladder, then we roll the ladder sections over into our wash bay. They get acid washed, then they move into our primer booth. They go through the priming process, roll them into the top coat booth where they get their final finish on it, at which point then they move into the ladder assembly department.
My name is Scott Palmer. I'm a painter at Rosenbauer Aerials in Fremont, Nebraska. And my daily tasks usually involve mixing paint, mixing primer, and applying both. Each aerial section that I paint, they come in individually. Some ladders have 3 sections, some have 4, and we do them one at a time. We try to get at least 7 loads a day, and some days it's more and some days it's less. And it depends on what's involved.
We start assembling ladders from the bottom up. We do all of the assembly of the ladder sections on the floor. So any lights, sign panels, breathing air, rung covers, all the electrical, everything gets assembled on the floor before we actually put it onto the truck.
Well, my name's Kim Probasco, and I am the team leader of the electrical and the platform assembly division. I get to wire panels. I get to work with our IFMs and our screens, put the control stands together, the command seats, and then the platforms that go on the end of the ladders. My department of that part of the electrical is 2 people. 75% of the things that go on the ladder, platform, control stand, everything, we do. Everything that we do is custom. Nothing is, no ladder, even if we sell it to the same fire department, doesn't mean that they get the same options on it.
All right, I'm Larry Cum. I work in ladder assembly. I assemble the ladders from start to finish. They get brought over to us, galvanized or galvanized painted or just painted, and then we assemble channels, put the channels on the ladders, rope light on the ladders, get all the rung covers on, fit our sheaves, cables in, run our wires through each section after we slide it together. If it's just a galvanized ladder, we file it down, make sure there's no sharp edges to it. And once we're done, we fine tune everything, make sure it's organized, working, steady, smooth. And then once it's all done, we load it onto the truck and send it off over to final finish.
While the ladder sections are going through assembly process, we have another department that sits off to the side. Chassis prep takes the chassis in, they prep the frame rails, they run the wires and the hydraulic hoses, they install the torque box, they install the outriggers, and then they also install the turntable.
My name's Nate Irving. I'm a lead here at Rosenbauer, and got a lot of hands-on work in chassis prep, and I also lead the torque box department, turntables, and outrigger construction, just a lot of different stuff. Turntable construction, they start with just raw material and goes through all the small parts and the graph and all that gets cut to all the pieces, and it's like putting together a puzzle, and you weld it all, and after that's all done, it goes to paint, and then it goes to the assembly, and then it comes to us. About everything comes through us. In chassis prep, about 3 to 4 days, depending on the truck, the size of it. Got to get the product out the door.
usually about at the same time. That's when the ladder sections are done being assembled and they're ready to be loaded onto the truck. After the ladder is loaded, then we're going to keep moving forward in the shop. We walk into our final finish area. They go through setting all of the final speeds. They go through all the final UL testing for stability.
My name is Matt Osborne. I run the paint department, the final finish department. Every day I get to do the testing on the trucks to make sure everything runs great and make sure everything comes out of the paint department looking really good. It takes us about 1 week from the time we get the truck until the truck can ship. We go through a checklist of about 150 items to make sure everything's running great and is ready for a UL. Then after UL, we do another check sheet that's about 300 items just to make sure everything runs great before it goes to the customer.
Once everything is signed off on these, then the truck is essentially ready to go for us to head up to either Minnesota or South Dakota for the bodies to be put on.
I'm Greg Hillenkamp. I'm the Quality Control Manager here at Rosenbauer Aerials. My typical day is inspecting finished trucks. I want to make sure that they meet the customer specifications. I spend a lot of time on fit and finish so our trucks look very good, and also I spend a lot of time on operations, make sure the trucks operate correctly so the customers are satisfied with the product we provide. I spend about 8 full hours inspecting the truck. Then I generate a list of items that I want the final finish personnel to fix. Then they fix those items, and then I re-inspect those items that I had called out earlier to make sure they were corrected to my satisfaction, and then I release the truck to go to the customer.
The last thing I want to show you here today is our parts room. Our parts room is pretty small here, and that's mostly because we make a lot of our own parts in-house. We don't purchase if we can help it because we like to control what goes on our trucks.
My name is Adam Krackmeyer, and I am a purchasing manager. My day-to-day tasks ordering raw material from steel, aluminum, pipe to ordering the lights, electrical wire. If it's not on my list, it's not coming to the facility. I have to be on the phone constantly, communicating with my vendors, trying to make sure that they are staying on time, and if they're not on time, what the delay, how long the delay is gonna be, and working with them, trying to make sure that even though it's on a delay, it's still gonna get here in time for my floor to stay on time. Because if my product is not here, I will stop production, and I don't wanna do that.
Quite a gamut of different aerials, and in that mix we've got about 35 different models. The latest technology that we have to put on with stuff like short jacking, tip controls, cameras on the end of ladders, different lighting. A lot of variables go into the aerials today. What's really interesting with us being this small, the product we produce is now going worldwide. We're very fortunate being able to do that.